Toli tuli takola njaga. Yeah, ngisiphola ujaga. Akiso chinchi njaga. Ngintwana mashona ujaga. Yeah, ihile ke plaga.
Hey, ulla device tabanana ka morao ka moo.
Ona tjena thaka tsa ka 37 ba bang older than me, they're 40s but we phela le bona but ka ofela ntse dulwa di back room ma habo hona o roba la fatshe ka dining room re lo dula kae because ha re sebetse go gola di 350 ke 570 tsa bana we go ba bona mahe empa ba bone le gaba no se soto ke se ratela maele go ba bona fela mahe but we don't see the traps around mahe out, you know what I'm saying, and no lo hona tjena could just see ke banana le mauti. There's nothing to do in the hood. There are no jobs. There are no opportunities. It's either sex, drugs, or alcohol. The three biggest sins. So, how they're a young person. Because I said the Central Business District. We have to Chabada, Bachaba Betwaki. What do you call this thing? So the plastic. Yeah, marble eyes. You know, marble eyes. And then I'm a director and founder ya Qwakanda, the dream to a greater and brighter Qwaqwa. I'm a father, a loving husband.
Allah. Unkluba inspire batho ba bana.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, ho tjena life imba.
Yeah, otherwise I'm just a guy.
Twela bapala tshela motlakase shapela fatshe jwalo ka katse ba ka mosino ba gangwa ke gase team ya magabela ke ne swala gasha ha ba sa bona no ba bona le legotho ba tlo safara dikwata le tlo le mala dikwata ba tlo safara dikwata le tlo le mala dikwata imabebesa tavalano petit boss izinje sane over there ba pussy vodka why you dancing like you wanna do come over Sehlasela marabele uzokoka Emabebeza tavalana petit boss Izinje zame over deva pussy vodka Why you dancing like you wanna do come over Sehlasela marabele uzokoka.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Qwaqwa's Finest TshepoThato. I'm your host Staidy. I'm your host with the most, aka what? Kevali team XA Lemnad le jole mnati na ke ukwela banna ditšhelete di tswile banna tšhelete di tswile ba ga Qwaqwa's Finest is now on ametse bauti ba fetana le guest ka jeko ke Hlox o tia Qwaqwa ya.
Yes sir.
O hletse Qwaqwa mona
100.
Okay, a go introduce tse setšhabeng ba fe background nyana ka wena.
Right. Lebitso la ka ke Lehlona Mabaso, better known as Hlox the Rebel. Ke hlahetse phutha ditjhaba, but ntate wa ka o tswa Mmako monana o lady from Reuven, but then ba kopane phutha ditjhaba mona. I'm a poet, I'm an arts entrepreneur, hona tjena I'm a climate philanthropist.
Climate
philanthropist. Yeah.
Hey, you pan.
Philanthropist. Get some of the titles so dithola hanzo o span abo. Because in span sa kanelo itlinela toti, and then there are people ba bona msebetsi o yetsa, and then they're like, you're a climate philanthropist, and then I'm like, okay, I'm that also. And then I'm a director and founder ya Qwakanda, the dream to a greater and brighter Qwaqwa. I'm a father, a loving husband.
Unkluba inspire batho ba bana.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, ho tjena life imba.
Yeah, otherwise I'm just a guy ratang gas, ratang Qwaqwa more than anything. Yeah.
So growing up ya how Qwaqwa mona is shapeile your life jwa.
Growing up more Qwaqwa ngare hlahetse kae sababse, especially how legal phutha ngara. Qwaqwa by day, phuthas by night. No. So as most of us know, yeah, the podcast is alone now, and I've seen a lot of people. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people.
Shout out.
Yeah,
shout
history. Out. Yeah, Qwaqwa here. So we know that from 1974 until 1994, Qwaqwa was a self-governed state. So the services, the employment, the infrastructure, everything was proper, you know. But as with any other governance or government, in NLD flaws that day, but everything was proper. So growing up in Qwaqwa, I grew up in a clean Qwaqwa, very clean. Hence, I'm obsessed with the cleanup campaign and the cleanliness, all these illegal dumping sites happening around here. So number one, the cleanliness, and then the quality of education, the level of crime. Yeah, the level of crime, Leona, it was not as high. Let me not, basically, it was not as high like on crime, but yeah, at different people, you know, but to be a community in Alimba, you know, no crime, no drugs and all of that. So building to be the person that I am today.
But comparing now, man,
yeah,
it's too much.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
So carrying how compare the older days le current situation municipality.
It's bad. It's very bad. I only got to see that to experience Qwaqwa because again in 1988. So by 1994, according to a secretarial decision, and then done about 6 years or so. So, but Nesento Udibona, I did the stadium was working, everything, the shop. We only got to experience them, Hanyan. We bone Hanyan fell at Qwaqwa, and then from there things fell downhill until now. I think as for someone who has seen it before, it's heartbreaking, you know. How the Qwaqwa the drugs, how na option msebetsi, how na go ka ba thusa jang go ba thola spane ka se go nona hana clean. Because kidi toti everywhere, the smell, the way you know, the level of crime, it's insane as well. So it's heartbreaking, but at the same time you cannot just mourn and then hence like any other young person, looking for greener pastures, and then am I gonna sit here and then make the city better, or do I have to go back home and then make my hometown better? And then in 2017 I decided to come back home and then start this movement called Qwakanda, which is the last line of defense. Yeah.
So problem was it the government, the ruling party of Qwaqwa?
I always say especially to Taimalaga, you know, and people, the PS, or you guys owe us an apology, because we hear the Qwaqwa that you guys are talking about, or only like this. It was the little Switzerland. It was clean, the quality of education, the infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? It was beautiful. And then I think also democracy was a foreign concept. Everyone was happy that there was going to be democracy. And then in 1994, there's going to be this national elections more for the first time. But vote. And then there's this heroes, Nabo Nelson Mandela and the ANC and all of that. Never excited into winning it with to change democracy and all of that. And then they voted against party inning Isale and then Dintodi via Shapo. I think it was not knowing, because they say even in the words, because before the late Dr. TK Mopeli and after the defeat in 1994, he had another gathering, the Chabasai, because they always had gatherings. Babona mahe empa babone le gaba. No, Sesotho ke se ratela maele go babona fela mahe, but we don't see the traps around mahe, you know what I'm saying? And then also Qwaqwa we share palama we can see it was built by a visionary or visionaries, you know, intellectuals, this beautiful place. So you cannot run such a place like any other South African township, because number one, ke royal place as it is, and then the infrastructure is set up as it is. A visionary, the resources that you have, the capital that you have, you can make your place better. Happy we cannot blame them as well. Bona batho ba fitileng ba tshwara Qwaqwa. Even now, they still don't know what happened. We are talking about people banaling trauma, you know. And then all of a sudden in 1994 and then now they have to run a country. Healing, you know, and then by develop a personal development, the trainings are how to run a country. Hence feeling entitled they're struggling for this country, so I deserve this much. Hence, they
don't even want to retire.
Nobody wants to retire because they want to dig in this money pot by creating.
So we believe our Qwaqwa mo nakonzele tsa TK because it was good.
Yeah.
Body tourist into money. Mountain exhaustion.
Yeah, Mount Exhaustion.
But now bona ho etsala intake in 27.
There are a lot of things that went south, you know. We are talking 31 years now since 1994. Qwaqwa has soka ebona development since 1994 isalefela everything. Last time in ekile ka site in Latseki kada ke bona le la tshepe. Ke tsamaya kada ka bo site tsa Tshia ke bona bo di hostel tsa Tshia bo dikolo tse dintse kwetseng bo boitsebelo, everything. Like there was a strategy in building this place. There was a strategy in the way the schools were placed. There was a strategy in a way the shopping complexes and listing and everything else, the stadiums were placed. In the place where in a way a sustainable economy for everyone, the way the firms were placed, you know. They call it the Central Business District. No, if honachina how kaya adapt to Chava, a lot of people because has the Central Business District we have to Chava Bachava Betwake, what do you call this thing? Plastic. Marble eyes. Marble eyes. Crystal meth. You know. Yeah, so it's crazy. It's ransacking. It messes the youth around. No, could just see banana le mauti. There's nothing to do in the hood. There are no jobs. There are no opportunities. It's either sex, drugs, or alcohol. The three biggest sins. So how they're a young person in the township. So all this, I always say, you cannot promise Batuntwe Banalenyona. For example, Qwaqwa, there are schools, proper schools, there's a university, there are colleges, there are clinics, there are proper roads. Banalematamo, Meti, Avaya Shapo, Mtlaka so sustainable. There is no crime. And then Wafita, you want to take over that place, the election. You want to promise something to these people that already have everything. These people already have, they don't need anything from you. You know, and then it's probably the election thing that no promise ever to banana who already have everything. You have to promise them something. What do? You destroy everything that they have so that you can promise it to them. You know? There are factories, for example. So there are unemployment rate, there are factories, there are schools, there's the GG, that government workers still, like there's a flowing economy. And then you come there, you want to promise these people something, you have to destroy them. You get here, or by the side firm. Ba ateka ka union ga da batho ba Qwaqwa ba se ba utlwa hore batho ba Durban hona le haba, batho ba Joburg hona le terene, hona le difofane, and then batho ba Cape. So now union ya fitla ere you have to le khole tšhelete one batho ba la tseba go etsalang across South Africa, batho ba khola di rate tse kanana, and then they come and convince batho ba Qwaqwa there's no railway, there's no harbour, dintho di tla ka diteraka ka dizele to this place. and then you promise them the same wages, or demanded the same wages as the people in Joburg, as the people in Devon. And then they did demand those things. And then Hobane, these factories were no longer subsidized as well. And then these people, the owners, study factories, and now they have to look at their logistics and everything. They're like, okay, we're going to give you guys the rate that they batlang.
10%.
Whatever that you want. But after this period, we're going to bounce. And then now, the family with unemployment, now I can promise you jobs because we've closed your factories. You know what I'm saying? It's a maintain the potholes, and then promise the health system
poor. Yes.
very ridiculously poor,
Yes.
so that we can promise you a better one. Crime, we don't maintain it, so that we can say, you know, we are like any other South African township, which is not the case. We are not like any other South African township. We were a country before we were turned into a village. It's a village. But back then, people wanted to come here, people wanted to invest here because there was a conducive economy. Like tourism. Tourism, landscape. Why a poor place with such a landscape? You understand? So you have to destroy all of those things. And then you mess up their water system so that you can promise them water. It's a shutdown, like any other South African township. Public service. I'm like a sonotima ka 9 episode. Koloya town council in a feature of usual but veneng when and lebonelele. But look is at the very same time and then bounce. So now we are like any other township, but it's not all lost because we all know that there's a better version of Qwaqwa, so we just have to return to it, go back to the basics.
So do you think this thing said can be fixed or some way?
It can definitely be fixed. As I said, I don't know. Do you follow us?
Finest.
Oh, finest.
Yeah, finest.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a finest. No?
Yeah.
I was listening to the interview. Katleo Taile.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy.
I was listening to his interview. Everybody knows. Like he was talking about the blueprint that we have. We already have a blueprint. Like the 10 rands and how they used to contribute in the development of Qwaqwa.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which other people, the other attack on him was to say those 10 rands were forced tax. If chelete how voluntary batho ba bangwe ba entse ba bangwe tlore like ba go no tlamelo be le sleepy se o sa go ntshitse za ka yo to go to a clinic or hey ke patela STABA to go to a hospital to use public facilities to show how you are paying and you are playing your part in the development of this place. So and then they said he was a dictator. He was dictating what about to ban the 10 rand, those 10 rand take forced tax. But you can see a forced tax because there are these new guys who are saying everything free. Free schools, free roads.
Even into Magana and Lokoto Polo against the
yeah.
This thing is not right.
So we have a strategy. Hence I came back home. The reason why we started Qwakanda, we took the name from Wakanda, from Black Panther. That's the dream to a greater and brighter Qwaqwa, because if you're looking at Wakanda, you see us, you see our mountains, you see our blankets, you know, and then we're like, we can be this place, we can strive towards being a Wakanda, towards this technologically advanced, Qwaqwa, zero unemployment, people just thriving using the green economy, re off the grid, re ske ra to depend over Eskom, we are all depressed, our production, how the thing, you know. So we're like, we are going back home to build this thing. We are going to find other like-minded individuals who want to see Qwaqwa prosper. So to answer your question, how
can it be fixed?
It can. A group young people who are like-minded, who want the development of Qwaqwa. We just have to come together. And we already have, which is why we have Qwakanda. But Qwakanda this year, we have a strategy. A strategy is that economic development that is not just going to change Qwaqwa, but the entire SADC countries, Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Botswana, all the SADC countries. There's a strategy that we are going to use because Qwakanda, it was because before Okaspana, like the president, what's this guy? Ian Kagame. The first thing he did after taking Rwanda was to clean. They were like, Mr. President, what's the strategy? What are we going to do? It was like the first thing that we need to do is to clean. And they cleaned Rwanda for the longest time, just cleaning the streets, cleaning everywhere. And once over clean, now you can think, now you can see what needs to go where. So when we started Qwakanda in 2020, we started cleanup campaigns, environmental awareness, food security projects.
You say funded, you were not funded.
We hustled. We hustled. We got some funding from international companies called Gigaton, Complexity University from the United Kingdom. We worked with your Vodacom, your Maluti Crescent, with NetBank, a lot of private companies, because private companies the mission sabona and the values that they're supposed to do in the communities seriously. So when you come through, you're saying we're doing environmental awareness, food security, and climate action. They see those things as dintote alainan. So that's where we were. Rented cleanup campaigns for all these years. The aim was to campaign so they sort of enjoyed the cleanup and then celebrate and so this year it's about economic development. That's one of the other things because our vision is to build an economically independent and self-reliant Qwaqwa through agriculture, tourism, entrepreneurship. So this year we'll be focusing on entrepreneurship.
So yeah. So how can people join the movement?
The movement,
it's only you guys who want to clean Qwaqwa.
Who want to clean? Yeah. The cleaning we do every year on the 20th of September. Why the 20th of September? The 20th of September was the birthday of our former Prime Minister, Dr. Mopeli. It was 67 minutes for Mandela around the world, Mona Qwaqwa, we have all these things that we can see because of the leadership of this man. So on the 20th, we were like, he was going to turn 90 by 2020. And then we're like, let us have 90 minutes for Qwaqwa, not for Dr. TK, but for Qwaqwa, for the people of Qwaqwa to remind themselves and remember, we are these people. Just for a day, 90 minutes, you clean up. But going to that issue out cleaner, we saw what Blind Root Cleaner will run any project as a non-profit company without the funds. Or sustainable funding. And Harry totally funds who honor Spania level because of honor waste to but what's am I by to team? Balobata to by so $1 per kg thole motho at least 500 kilograms of waste per day re mo fa 500 rand o tlo re ke batho ba kae ba tlinang ka se kaofela because when I would take that organic waste and then re etsa compost. So throughout these 4 years since re etsa Qwakanda re batla the funding and everything, we realized that we need to come up with a strategy, a sustainable strategy that's not just going to help us as a non-profit company, but that's going to develop Qwaqwa as a whole. And that's where the strategy Kgomo ya Mafisa comes in. I don't know if it's about Kgomo ya Mafisa again.
Kgomo ya Mafisa again. Nanzo se divi.
So one of the other things that I do, because for a history arona, is to ask the elderly. No, you cannot wanana ka Asia ka get 37. I know all of these things. Populates. I visit a lot of Batuaba Holo. No, I learn from them. I ask them questions. So we wanted to have a strategy. One, unemployment is 0. Ra khona ho buda difeme ra khona ho tsosa di buildings tsa rona tse senyehileng, all these le ena mo mauthi a tsubelang teng he this shopping complex ra khona ho tsosa di stadium ra khona lokisa di tsela ra khona ho ba batho ba sharp, ra khona ho tshwana le Dubai, ra khona ho ba an independent state sena le their own development bank ena le nzaka ya yona. So bare in 1992 there was about 900 million circulating in Qwaqwa that they were sure of, or there's 900 million from me as a government employee. It's a patale mamang taxi, for example. You a taxi a khono patala saluning alokuta mrir. You a saluna khono hisangwan a high crutch. You a crutch o khono reka dijo shopo, So it was circulating. There was money. Kahara Qwaqwa. So we're like, how do we go back to the basics? Kahara country is an analysis scheme. So not in a but the 10 rand note that he was far out team which the 800 during COVID, but we are not there.
Charles Mupet.
We break the lockdown regulations. So this is a strategy that was researched by he researched the strategy, and this is a strategy say the Africans this is Kgomo ya Mafisa ke a wealth development strategy for the ancient Africans. Hore ka hara motse ho ska ba le mamang a rich haholo feta mamang yona some lawyer kapo ba utswetsa mamang ba bona they are poor ka community kaofela ne ra tlameha hore re bonahale hore re batho kaofela. So let's say a new family fitla ka hara motse ha bana next ha re ba tswa kae ka pono lwanua mo ba tswang ka pono etsalang ba fitla ba set up pose ya bona ka hara motse ha bana next as the community ya mo. That's where Kgomo ya Mafisa comes then. Onka kgomo re isa lelapeng leo. Kgomo ena ne se ke kgomo ya lebese. E kgona ho fepa bana ba ntlo enana ka lebese ba kgona ho ja wa kgomo e teng. And then kgomo enana e pana le nngwe ya monna ya poho. Ena ya poho di kgona ho etsang namane. Namane eo ke ya ntlong eo, this poor family. Ha ka ta rona re nka kgomo tsa rona bana se bana le namane. And then the same strategy etsahala hape ka ba bang hape ba tlo tlisa kgomo tsa bona monana hore ba kgone ho ba etsetsa kgomo eo. And then le bona se ba kgona ho participate economically ka hara community because se bana le kgomo tse pedi. Ho maybe ba fuwe le di-seeds ba se ba kgona ho lema ba se ba kgona ho phela within the community. So ene le tsela ya hore ho ska ba le motho a poor ka hara community. So the strategy se re to se etsang is hona tse economy ya rona ha e ka ramatso a rona.
Of course.
Ethiopia, Somalia, no? These guys rake in millions and millions of local economy every day. And you find people aggressive, but as a person who thinks, how nahana, you might want to be a hero, ne? But every time one man's hero ends up being another man's terrorist. E dula ele jwalo. Tlo floa ona tjena na ga kena community mona ga bantsha kaofela mo tjena re vaya lona ga kgathetse ke lona. Ka ha ga jarete ya boyemong le mong ka garageng se le shop ya mzala o a ile go monyana ke contain. And then all of these buildings ka hara community le economy e batjha ba golang di 350 ba golang di 570 tsa bana
for just city,
you know ba hodiswa ke boma ke bonkgono ba ntseng ba gola pension batswadi ha ba spane ke boma ba tlo bulang di shop tseo ka eng
they try to keep more by the into the expire, but then how about the shop on they take those things,
you understand ke boma ba tlo bulang shop tseo but banana you can ban his tech shop today ho sana ba tlatsitse shop hape Osano say, even if it's fela ka stoko ya tlatsa because they are united and they have those funds they ba dietsa. So ka kgomo ya mafisa when we flip it to our age ona tjenana, we are working with a group of young people, intelligent young people. Qwaqwa, they are so intelligent. We have over 200 schools, you can imagine. Ore ke ha bothuto jwang mona. So the strategy, let us contribute 2 rands. But we khona ho ntsha 2 rand for pontompati. No anse 2 rand je go mhlang hlokahalang le fula ka le be sharp.
Ne mong wins more than 20 years.
You understand? Ntsa phela fela ntsa di 2 rand tsenana. O batla fela go mhlang a shwang a be sharp. Why re sa khona ntsha di 2 rand o re phele sharp. So this is the strategy. We say everyone on 2 rand every Friday. Friday 1 and Friday 4. Ka Friday 2 rand. Ka motse le motse wadi le wadi everyone ka hara Qwaqwa ontsha 2 rand. Ha re yetse ka example ya Phutadichao. Roughly about Phutadichao, but the last census there was about 100,000. So they're probably over 100,000 now. Ha re about Phutadichao every Friday bantsha 2 rand. 2 rand every Friday we have about 200,000. Highly about 100,000 ba Phutadichao alone. Ka kgwedi ke di Friday tse 4 but about 100,000 bantse di 2 rand. We have about 800,000. In a year we have something like 9.6 million. Ka batho ba Phutadichao fe re khona ho ba le 9.6 million e ka hara trust ile ya rona ya batho ba Qwaqwa Community Development Fund. You batho ba fela ba ntsa di 2 rand tseo 2 rand tsena na re na le 9.6 million e re connecting for the period 2020 financial year 2025-2026 ha re to tsala sebedisa ka 2026 we collect 9.6 million re tlo etsang ka yona. We are going to revitalize our local economy. I was speaking yana na salon ya ekwetsa sana di head raya sana di eng ga bula salon ya hae
The fame.
You understand? Before the firm, these small businesses. Because at the end of the day, my turn at them not over. My friend at them never buy. So, how about via? Retlonga all of these businesses, Sabona, with these 2 rents, the home yama fees. Now that Osonali business, I get when I bullet a car wash, bullet a tech shop, bullet a bakery, a salon, fast food outlet, or whatever. We're not so sub guy, 20 rand so that mafisa a khona ho fitla ho ba bang hape. So re qala ka the local economy, we take over the local economy, and then inside the 20 rand tsa yona, where do we go next? We go into monana. The good thing gore re ka under land ya rona kaofela ya tshwarwa ke masepala, rena land tse tshwarwang ke marena. Ona jena thaka tsa ka 37 ba bang older than me, they are 40s but we phela ne bona, but kaofela ntse dulwa di back room ma habo rona o roba la fatshe ka dining room re lo dula kae because ha re sebetse go gola di 350 ke 570 tsa bana. We go, we invest in land. Ra fitha o marena mo na le bo morena mmota ka kwa the paramount chief, re na le bo morena Mopeli kaofela ba tletseng Qwaqwa ina kaofela re lo reka land ena. We going to farm, we going to have animals, and then we're going to have our own complexes. And then now that we have this land mo se re tlo kgonang ho dula teng le rona mo re tlo kgonang hore the other thing municipalities ha boneng gore ba sa re a ile matlo le bona ba lose the rates, you know. The other thing now, we have more kgonang ho dula teng, re na di land tse re di rekileng, re na di plus tsa rona, re na le phofolo tsa rona. We now come for our infrastructure because it's been shown but banana is 31 years now. Manzo re tlo bula difeme, re tlo lokisa stadium, re tlo lokisa hall, re tlo lokisa eng. We now have money. It's been years now. Let's say in the next 10 years, the next 5 years, re nka fela just focusing on the local economy. Ka selemo ka batho 100,000 ntse re tsa 9.6 million tse ntse re bula di business tsa rona fela, so that a lot of other young people ba bula di business and then ba hira ba bang. Re batla ho tlosa batho ba bangata strateng, and then we go for the infrastructure. Stadium sena alone se kgona ho etsetsa masepala di rates tse ding tse baya blind.
But ba neglectile ke bao.
It's neglected. Really difeme. Bani ba di small businesses so tlo hlokahala gore ba lo reka kara di warehouse tse tlamehile be di etsang be di owner ke rona, tlamehile go lo bulang difeme tsane hape tsa bo maplanka tsa bo eng. Ha re bula bo boitsebelo hona tse boitsebelo e kwetse ene ke technical school. Who closes a technical school? Because hona tjena more than the degree ho batlahala skill. So we reopen dikolo tse tshwanang le bo boitsebelo, re di etsa di training center, re tlo traina bo mang batho ba kaofela ba tlo sebetsang in these factories, and then before we know it re tla be re kgonneng ho set up our own Qwaqwa development bank. E rona re tsebang kaofela re le batho ba Qwaqwa, this is where we bank, this is where our money is, this bank is responsible for our development. Khona ho isa bana varsity, and le ena ha go isitse varsity, it's not just for you to go to varsity but come back with the skill that you have. I been motho tse spanable international or wherever, like batho ba pele bane bantsha TshepoThato. You bring the money back home into the community development fund yana Qwaqwa e tlo tsoseletsang Qwaqwa kaofela, and then in the about next 10 years ga khona ho betsa unemployment zero.
So now coming I think government ekabali some sort of the problems on these things, because now vele utlabo ba senyetsa chelting ya bona vale. So for those things and everything, I think even if you have this plan, but you guys have this plan, already you have thought about the disadvantages of those things. So the disadvantages and to giving lore government if ever ehana to this extent little solve it into the le happy there are people who wouldn't agree. Yeah. Yes, nagidumates I will pay 200 but my hana. So those kind of things see details over. Well, see the door benefit of which now all pay am not
200 So Homo is four-legged. The strategy is four-legged. So as a collaboration between the community, the royal councils, private business, and the municipality, which is government. So for this strategy to work, everyone has to be on board, because every time you go to the municipality, you go to any other government institution, or do the budget. So we would have had the budget, but all we want from them, because when everybody bylaws and all of these things, state a million or pass it through zona if you want to develop. Like but if you want or getting a borehole, so that they can point you to the right direction or how infringing anything. So it's gonna be four-legged. We gonna start from the street committees. The street committee, and then from the street committee the ward committee. Ward committee tsenana di sebetsang le ward councillor. Ka sintsena le marena ward councillor yo o tlo sebetsa le office ya marena as well, to ensure hore ditoranta tsena re dithola kaofela, because it tla be just to ditoranta tsa KFC. Have you seen anything? You're super wow, what a
hope, children of hope.
And but 70 said 200, but they take them how to plow back home. this is not the home ya KFC. They are plowing back to their home ka 200 tsa rona. So re tla be re na le street committee tsenana di tlo ba busy ka idea to know how many people are in the street, because at the end re tlo ba le as well till sleep promotion. It tla be re each and every household ha qeta ho reka sing, ha qeta ho reka ka re beya di sleep tsa rona kaofela, and then di sleep tsenana kaofela re tlo ha kgwedi fela via street committees re tlo kgona ho bona hore as a street re spend up guy BeeKay care, re spend up guy Shoprite, re spend up guy, so that when we go to them for the CSI projects, we already know rona as this ward per month we give you this much. So we are expecting, or at least CSI how maybe around this percentage, how Shebane the Qwaqwa, because Qwaqwa is about 500,000 people. Now we are talking serious money. But that's where we can get. And then renally the royal councils, because truly speaking, government in Kilematla Amarena.
Yes, especially Babasotho.
Yeah.
Because now
yeah.
Baba KZN they have budget, but Baruna they don't have budget.
Marena KZN fela ya security. Marena rona Basotho ba ka ishera bathaba ha bohloko hape. So as to bring the power back to Marena, because if Kasia ha sa develop o le Morena le rona ga le tshaba ha sana le matla ho wena, but also Marena patalwa ke government. Yes. So le Marena a rona a payrolling like a councillor, like any other person sebetsang in the government. And once another man pays you, if monne monga kena ha hao ele ena patalang a reka cruiser ga etsa eng o khona ho jwetsa go etseng ha hao. So Marena rona ha sana voice ona tjenana, because muso se lona ba jwetsang, because ba tseba if we act against these people ba tlo kwala di fund tsa rona or the salary or whatever. So it's bringing that back to the project tse tlo khonang ho tsosa community Chaba hub, and then we have we said the municipality via the ward councillor and everything, and the ward committees and the street committees, and then we have private business. We have so many private business here. We have a mall guy ka Selim a contributor in Qwaqwa. Can you imagine her hakitsamaya because as a chairperson in a non-profit company or society funds her whole most of the managers are Zulu speaking people. The people are Zulu speaking people. Security companies are Zulu speaking people. So Horona the mall is just a building a fitling ya bewachi. Yatla lidi shop. TshepoThato le batho ba tsona ba sebetsang. So basically higher dropela le unemployment percentage ya rona. So now we have to understand this, because this a lot of white companies, they don't tell you this ka di cooperatives tsa bona tsena ba lata tšhelete tse ngata tsa CSI from these big entities. O bona bo forum engwe ya makgowa fela ba lokisa dikasi tsa bona ba etsang, it's because of this money. They know where this money is. But le rona ha re ka kgonang through this something like Home ya Mafisa against different entities within one cooperative, ka khona ho dilata di CSI projects tseo from the mall, from any other big entity, o re kgonang ho ba le tšhelete e le bona ba ilahlelang for the development of these people who spend so much on them. And then we have, but it's about partnerships, building partnerships with private, so that ikhona with the hala khomina ya Mafisa. And then we have the community, which is us. Like, we have nothing to lose. It's been 31 years. How na next Qwaqwa. Let us trust these guys for a year. For Slim. There's a guy, what's his name? Blah 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 blah. I will remember. ba Soweto bona, the very same thing ba yentse ka di 10,000. They're like re batjha re dula in Soweto re dula ka di backroomong re squashed up ka ga matlwana a bona. Ha re ntsheng zaka, I will go buy land and then re aheng ka sientsha. O ile mo mzala, within a month ke ba na le about 10 million young people. Within 3 months actually ke ba ntshitse di 10,000 these young people. Ba batla I think it's Romeo, yeah. Ba batla this development. He buys land and then on all the red tapes tsa land that he spoke about. But eventually they contributed Zaka Bareka land. Hona tjena there's a new complex Kasi Encha that's being built by this young person, le other young people that were contributing in Chile. So we can definitely do that as well. We know Renaldi accountants it's a level in young way of the Renaldi economics, the blind. We have the lawyers and advocates. If we can all bring our skills together and say, let us build capital. And then with this capital, develop our own hometown, develop ourselves, and then become the solutions to all the problems facing us. It's a polite idea.
Do you think, on that point, do you think the whites, they're blindfolded? Because now they say everything belongs to them, our land belongs to them. Even Mr. Trump, Sakwala Dintore, South Africa is taking land and stuff where then the whites are not being treated nice. Where else the whites are going to bona DJ for TikTok?
DJ, dog. But to Baba Subashapuya haholo. Like to ubonang a black personally when I was instilled where a punishment. If you were to speak to our parents, bona the way bal tabang, you know, it
was like God to
and they didn't see themselves anywhere close to bona. They didn't see themselves baka khona ho compete le magoa economically, even just competing economically, because rona re le batho ba tshwerentse workforce. Lendi ya bo rona na le mabitla abo batho ba bo rona re sebetsa go tsona mo batho ba plus. You know na chinana what I've also learned gore what they do, you would find what to government if batho ba batho maybe a cooperative ba file plus community like get a cooperative apply more government now eba file plus in a whole 500 hectares of land. They don't know what to do with it. Number one, they don't have the necessary equipment. They don't have the workforce. They don't have a lot of things. Plus. So what these white farmers do now, and these white entities, because when they have their own cooperative, michini and the la ka shapua ke bacteria plus in how what la bona le magwamang hape on tshedi tse pla di seeds tse ding or whatever shapua ke di flats go mo diashwa through the cooperative. You are able to rise again. So ba fitlhe do plus in ya batho ba batho and be like, can you rent it to me for 500,000 a year? But bana ba bona 500,000 ba cooperative ya batho ba batho. They're like, yeah, why not? 500,000. And then bona ba share 500,000 you ba le ga ofela ba kopanela 500,000 you high one ga slim, and then this white man with a 5 million kalendi o faka di chemicals tsa high mobung di eng because na ntse bona ba di spanisa. But once wena o bona hore man motho nana we can do this thing. Next. It's because now Mobuna are solely dependent on Kalakaya whenever it's helang on all these other pesticides and whatever stable maintain. So the guy that I'm telling you about, Romeo, like they've made land to be so difficult for a black person to attain. Otlo told us so many red tapes. He even had to have a white friend hore ba kgone ho etsa idea ya ho aha those 3 townships still tse ntjha tse ba di etsang. They call them smart townships because the houses are amazing. Ba use green energy and all of that. Le waste management ya bona is green as well. So they put up so many red tapes. Hona tjena na ho reka land. And then Barry Batwa, environmentally, they have to check more. There might be some indigenous plants that they do not want you to mess with. But with you cannot build more. Ofithle babo TshepoThato mtlakase bo Eskom ba rutse rona di towers tsa rona and whatever is dikentswe monana, you cannot build. So there are so many red tapes tse entsweng for rona batho ba batsho re se ra kgona ho thola land. But nna ke dula ke re we are so blessed that we are in the rurals, and a land in it's just stone throw away. Le morena o kgona wa khela le jeda ra fitla re le batjha re morena re na le 5 million re batjha ba Qwaqwa. We want to develop this place. Re batla tlo a dikolo tse di monana, build more hospitals, build a community ya batjha mo ba tlo kgonang ho phela teng. So those are the things that are kgonang ho di etsa ha re tshwere tjhelete. But they've made us so dependent on body funds, finding a job. Emong o dutse ona tjena ka di-skill o batla span because re kentswe ntwe go to school, find a job, die. Don't invest in anything. Don't buy land. Don't go into property. We are not economically active. We are just consumers. But there is nothing rona re ntshang. How ka yemara Blue Bush sheba di traka tse kenang every morning ka ga Qwaqwa di tlisang dintho ka ga Qwaqwa se rona re tlo di rekang mara ha hona di traka tse tswang ka ga Qwaqwa.
Distributing into Arab places.
At that time, we used to do international import-export. What's this? Asparagus back in the days. Parinelli on its economy are strong. Ho trade a little country trading about asparagus. But now we are not producing anything. How na next year anga di faming kamo it's on ya Qwaqwa re reka be reke di beetroot di wete di eng tsa khona go di jala mo.
But it makes sense. But they want to invest to another mole because rate is too high.
It's crazy high.
From the 1 till 25.
Yeah. But the McDonald's at Qwaqwa was number 1. Na Nebula Mall. Lemon Sale. The McDonald's at Qwaqwa was number 1 in the country that sales. So you can imagine buying power, but all we have to know is how much is this buying power. Got ideally till sleep promotion. I count handle to the last cent. Ranka collect the lipise and see how much is it that we are giving to these people and how much is it that we are getting from these people. That's when we'll know how much power we have. That's when we can also build our own malls. Buy land whoever morena tshulo mo morena tshulo bchabela mabolela mo re shape mall mo massive because re bangata the parking e ka seng re buy a plan. I was checking the last census they don't even cover I think 60%. Yeah, God hollow this place. There are places still because of how big it is. There are so many people here. So if so many people from
the 1 till 20 1 month.
Let's just take those two rents.
On that point, but do you think there is a say our country doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the whites? Whites are the ones who are ruling, even if the ANC government is in power, but they are being controlled by the whites.
Yeah, it's how it is.
It's true.
By
preacher.
By preach. If you do not have the economy, you ain't got ish. These people have the land. If you do not have the land, you do not have anything. There's a saying, or they came here and then when we opened our eyes, they gave us the Bible. When we opened our eyes, we had the Bible and they had the land. To this day, we still have the Bible and they have the land. So it's very true, man. Like, even if you can check the millionaires, when I around, I was talking to another friend of mine, the millionaires, my friends. If they want to see a wealthy African man, my friend, I want to take my friend, they want to take the wholesaler, the warehouse,
the clubs.
Rona, ke bo man di millionaire e tlo tswang mona na batho ba re na man Hotman ho letse he, and I saw him hustle and today he's a millionaire. You know, those people buy into that wealth is generational. It's within them. It's within them. Among atloa from the CEO post ho kena yemo ke company eo ke family the farm outloa yemo ke a bona everything ke a bona. So even if you can check during COVID-19, you could see hore ke bomang a kgonang hore a ikwalla for those many days. Or they were panic buying, panic shopping. Ba reka dijo tse ngata fela ba kgona di tlatsa ka tlung fela da hore ba kgona survive at this period while our people were starving. Ona tjena na ho ka ya boyo na Mount Oxos during the week, you find white people bale on a vacation ka hara beke hara selemo fela tje while our parents are working, while we are working. So they have the economy, and it's tied to them to a point. They're not even like, if you mess with their economy, that's when you see them moving around. That's why you would see Zuma must fall, because he was shaking up the economy. Abuakabori economy, black people, don't talk about that. But if economy is sharp, when was the last time Mukla Mahua complained since the new president? They don't complain because everything that's theirs.
It's smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth. It's safe. Like, they're cool. Leona Chinana, Kibona Balwanga whole because the 17% into sharp a whole. Because Kibona.
Yeah, vet.
Yeah.
But even us, man.
Yeah, it's not sharp a Mare Waka Mutasha Puanke vet 17% a whole R350 ga khwedi. Rabuaka moto a etsang 3.5 million ka khwedi. And then you nyola boda it is.
It's ba budget speech ke shebeletse se le hare.
It couldn't happen.
Ke bomambe ke DNA lwana ha ile hantle.
It couldn't.
Or was it EFF or
I don't know. I don't even entertain. Like, I just watch politics to be in the know, because it's very important to know.
Okay.
It's very important to know. But what they did, Batlile to Parliament, they had finalized the picture budget 17%,
which was DA didn't know, and other parties didn't know.
Because if they had known, and they didn't want it, by discuss it behind closed doors or no, guys. You can't propose it. Not to wait for the day of the budget and be like, by the way, it's a budget, but we can't do it today. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, there's a say ANC if it's the ruling party.
Exactly. It's just a game of powers, and with the game of powers, when the elephants tested muscle, that's on a dilwana. Kirona bujwang bakawatea. Kirona. Hence, as every other township, as villages, as every black community, we need to come up with ways of how to be financially independent. We are moving.
Comparing Zuma to Mr. Maposa, who was the best?
Which one is best?
Yeah, because now you see our country, man, since Ramaphosa was ruling, but they are complaining. And they just say, happy, that 350 is a bribe. Yeah, for us to keep on voting for ANC.
It is. It is. I think it's a system, man. Immortal technique, or don't try to change the system, because it's the system that will eventually change you. It's whoever hona tjena out of all these guys we want to bua ka bona le hona tjena ba ka etsa usane Paul Mashatile a president. It's a set up by joining. Come on, because from apartheid, and then they're like hona tjena Iselelona in power. The union building belongs to you. This belongs to you. They're the same offices as our oppressors. We are still using the same systems as our oppressors. Now, if a black president gets tronko, and then we get here, and then we find what we demolish that, and then we go build our own union building. It'll unite as black people. We now have this building that we believe in, and everything that it stands for, and every other thing in Chakara building you. So naturally we inherited system since Spanish from back then. Yeah. So as long as hence it's going to be very difficult for Julius president, because they don't want to unpredictable. It's supposed to be like this.
It's like you're not to change everything.
Hence, sometimes I feel like just withdrawing from the entire country and focus on Qwaqwa. Every time Black Bachela parliament and then not just point at parliament at Qwaqwa, but now that's my parliament. That's why near South Africa and everything that's happening in it, I guess and also it's because I know it would be possible and easier for us to change Qwaqwa. You wouldn't want to come to a place like Qwaqwa where you find there was or exile or whatever, there was this guy who was communicating with these people in their language and able to negotiate. Because what was supposed to happen to this place, it was supposed to be a dumping site. Basically what the apartheid government wanted to do was to turn Qwaqwa into a dumping site, to bring to bring all these other people basically was going to be unmanageable. But what this man did was to turn this dumping site or this waste into compost, and then it's a beautiful place. And then when our feet 1994, you find so endless soul stadium, university, and everything. Would you want to develop it? Because how we develop or enhance a legacy out here. Okay. So you have to demolish it. So I still believe in this, in principles that old government are actually looking at everyone. I don't see leaders, basically. The question was whether Cyril or Zuma, who was better. I don't see leadership in them. I don't see people who love black people. People who would want to see black people flourish and thrive to be the best that they can be. I see people who want slaves. How do you take a young black person or make a slave is at 350, make be dependent on 350? How do you take them and refuse them free education as well? Because as a leader, under your tenure, under free education in El Jacob Zuma, and he couldn't. Banane balwana kila bona ka bana balwana la ithuta dog. Banane balwana ba thunywa ka di rubber bullets and all of that. All he had to do, and he promised free education to us, but he couldn't deliver. This one, he's just a good storyteller. He's a good storyteller. When he arrived, we like about the new dawn, smart city, green economy, and all of those. Because once you speak about the green economy and all of those things, because that's where the money is, that's where the jobs are, that's where the entire world is shifting to. And then you find the president that afaba to hope. Yeah, it's like they're always dangling
For the
carrot.
past 3 years ago, boss.
Dangling a carrot. And it's sad because it's like a routine now. How never pass our 2 hour ish. University, but 2 hours ago, university and but have a percentage, but they don't have the capacity. The accommodation, the university. So there isn't any form of leadership in the country right now. I always say we need, at this level, South Africa needs dictatorship.
Mr. Malema say
that's the only thing that could save this country. Yeah, dictatorship. Because when I the NGO do the human rights, that's what you and we have to torture this man or by the Human Rights Commission, the NPO, if we want this country to be, because that's what apartheid was. It was dictatorship. But that's what we need on a chill.
So when do you think follower like Donald Trump no?
Yeah.
Do you think Donald Trump use dictatorship who rule the country, no rule other countries, because now battle Greenland was this country
He wants everything. He's a bully.
Like
that's what he is. You have motor flex our financial muscle, because Donald Trump comes like the reality show and from business and no one Elon Musk is just billionaires doing whatever
moves.
Like if you watch the interview and the president of Ukraine yesterday, they were just bullying that guy. Like they call him to the Oval Office, like they want to have a conversation, and then when he gets there, pressurizer, they were just there to humiliate him. They brought him there to humiliate him. So he's racist, number one also. So you cannot expect a man like Donald Trump to have anything good for black people or people of any
plus this thing gays and lesbians stop minister and all against that it's against federal law we are the federal law
you know. Bully bourgeois.
Or makata the funds federal law to hard to retire and all those stuff, the benefits, just set one the federal.
But also what he's doing on Aja, I think is good. Countries have to be independent. You have to be independent as a country. There was a time HIV and AIDS is a level the people were dying of AIDS, and then there were ARVs. They produced were the ARV. Like the funded about US aid, and people are panicking. You want the ARV guy because we are not manufacturing them ourselves. This side,
but the scientists, we have doctors.
So the former president Thabo Mbeki was like, okay, there are these pills now that they are introducing. They're saying they're going to save the world. They even made jokes about him. Bare is not human. There was this boy, Nkosi Johnson. I think he was born with HIV. Yeah, and AIDS. And then this boy, I still feel like he was turned into a mascot of some sort for the international community as well as the national community to pressurize President Thabo Mbeki. Because this is what President Thabo Mbeki is saying. He's saying, okay, but we haven't explored other ways of how to deal with this. Are there herbal ways? Minister Memanto Shabalala Msimang at the time. Memanto is like eat immune boosters, your beetroot, your garlic, all of those, SBT and all of those. And then Mayonana Ankua Ayetsua an alcoholic or to make alcoholic, which because now so focused with
she's an alcoholic.
And then there's this president Abatlang Hotwela Ngwana Ashwe. Nkosi Johnson was paraded across the world. Adula Abuwaka microphone. Mona Ofanana is exhausted, He's talking more. I was born. I still say they could have saved him if they wanted. But I feel they wanted to make an example. Kangwana eno analfatselebo no bona President Thabo Mbeki Yohana ka dipilisi. Ngwana ke una wa shwa ka pela lefatshe kaofela. And then that man was saying, let us see which other options do we have. Nkabe se bile re fitile option ya gona we manufacture the ARVs from back then. From back then. Nkabe go gona we manufacture the ARVs. A gona hore ha Trump are there's US aid stopper and then cool. We have our own ARVs. We can produce our own ARVs. We have our own scientists. We have our own everything. So it's very important for other countries because these people, they don't have the minerals at the end of the day. America, EMMO, they always say the American dream was built in China because America depends on every other economy, sustain economy. They come here, they take our diamonds. This is my idea. American Swiss, our own diamonds. They take our gold. It's a my happy process. All of these wars Africa because they also want to take these minerals illegally. So flex it's about time that we as African countries flex. You're not going to get a diamond from us. You're not going to get gold. You're not going to get anything. Agricultural products, you're not going to get anything from us. Keep your America. Because of
keep your American dream.
Keep your American dream and then with the resources and the minerals that we have.
Okay, going back, the schools, there are many schools.
A lot.
And now our population is increasing.
Yeah.
But the schools are being closed.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
It also doesn't make sense to me. Next school saying aside in La Tabana. I can't remember the name of the school. The foundation failed. And a lot more schools stayed in Qwaqwa. And then they say, Banaba mo habasakena dikolomo. Come on, if there's a community who do that every day.
Every day.
Dr. Chikko hana aha dikolo tsenana witse ketlo aha sekolo. Pela monyako wa habongwana emundi emo. How ka botsanda tenvisa wa tseba hantle go mabitso a dikolo tsenana kaofela amina because with every school there was a message behind it. So you take this thing and then you close these schools. And then you don't just close them, but you do not have a substitute for closing these schools. As I was saying at the training center, well, if you close a school, a primary school or an intermediate, at least you can say the unemployed youth, the people who are there's a training college mo khonang hoya o lo ithuta with amriri khona ithuta with welding khona ithuta electronics and all of those other things so that we all become plumbing, all of those things, just have a skill so khonang to trade in for money. But I still think it's still that attack of trying to erase what this man has written. You know, you cannot tell me what's the problem of having such a big stadium not operating. Such a big stadium not operating. Also, if there's no stadium, we cannot have a team. So Qwaqwa nearly united back in the days because we had Qwaqwa Stars, which played its home games, Charles Mopeli, which brought a lot of people who brought in business for the local B&Bs, the stores, the hawkers, and everything. So how close that idea of Bolaya economy had. So I still think it's one of those things. Go tsena go telle blind putha ditšhaba hall e dutse fela le ha e senyehile fela ka ga putha ditšhaba mahareng fela hall e kgolo ke bonyaope ba tsubela ka ga yona ka da ba besa ba etsa ntho le snacks go fela ka ga hall until we as Qwakanda get a petition was signed about over 4,000 people. It was an online petition who turn this freaking hall into a theater for the artists. Because the artists are on a hard span and also they don't have a place. For example, let's say tomorrow, Google Ting Habo, or Shapaka Live Band, Onka Theater, there's Google Live Theater at Lazavatubakas, Google Band throughout that season, you maybe Barabatu did show throughout that week. How much money would have they made? Not just them, but the lights guy as well, the cleaning lady, you know, because at these buildings, they create a land span. All of those things, the performance and festivals, everything. So I think the same thing with schools. They are trying to erase the memory of this man. Yeah,
It's too much.
it's an attack. It's an attack. It's one thing after another, because one of the things is Qwakanda was to go to his house when we started Qwakanda, and we found the former first lady, and she was like, if you guys are telling me or you want to start something that is going to save Qwaqwa, the first thing that you must not have keletswalo, because there are people who want to see it the way Lenkate. So if you guys are trying to disturb these people who are trying because it's their intention, it's their mission. There was the first premier of the Free State that did Herald Court, because he was the first one to say, this place of yours. The ambulance, the fire truck, and everything. Every other thing.
There's a say the city was supposed to be here.
Exactly. Kirona capital city, yeah, Free State, actually. You know, the parliament, they were supposed to sit Mona Qwaqwa because that's where the parliament is. But it's not so anymore. So getting to that we have to fight for the history that we have to preserve, and not just preserve the history, make money, and also say the buildings they were happy to operate.
Sure. So yeah. Now I've heard into too much information. That guy, BeeKay, a big brothers. So posted it publicly. Okay. You voted for him, and then there were comments. And I saw your post. Maybe you can clarify and talk about it now.
It was not just the BeeKay issue, you know, but the BeeKay issue got to me because it happens a lot. This thing, we don't support one another.
Yes.
How Kafita Soweto, they going to support you just because you're from Soweto. Ofita fela pinaya or Soweto. Even Limpopo, you know. Limpopo they are supporting one another hard. So I put up this post or I just voted for BeeKay. And then baba no mfana na wapaiza mfana tlamela khutlela
ha qeta ho thola that amount of money but of which it ha to dula mona ho ya ka big brother sebageng o rekela o thola di benefits.
But what is the problem with one of us becoming a millionaire? What is the problem with that?
What is the problem of one of us a song of the year? What's the problem with that?
Google Afrotonic by a classic. Google Afrotonic and Jemba, that was a classic. That was a straight win. A song of the year. That was a straight win. But because last year it happened, we are pushing this direction for about one and about toilet this which they are so close to getting. Honale negative forces they pulang against and how why? So the post was about that, or if it goes back to the idea, it goes back to the numbers. There was another chick, this other lady, Hlox, you can vote as many times. SIM card.
I saw vote 300 times.
I'm like, guy, there are 500,000 of us in Qwaqwa. If each one, anga di free votes, they fell at 300. Each one of us, there's a boy representing us nationally. It's our mission to ensure that he wins. It's our mission. There's a song nominate doing it on Qwaqwa on the summers. It's our mission to make sure that it wins. Kamwe is so close to be Song of the Year. It's our mission. If Vincent Pule, like I said, orata relewile mfuking udula Qwaqwa, ma relewile o category one le Vincent ozwa Qwaqwa, we vote for Vincent. Horo mrata ka relewile, but because of the hometown glory, there's something called hometown glory etlamileng rebellion as bana ba Qwaqwa. If one wins, we've all won. Basically, if one of us wins, we've all won. If BeeKay wins this Big Brother thing, bana ba kasi can see from here, from Qwaqwa, from I can become whoever in the country. I can be Song of the Year. National level. So re tlo fitla jwang international level if re sokodisa batho hore ba kgone ho thola status sa national. Ha go kgone ho etsa Google le Afrotonic ba be national, re ba beile da rona re le kasi. It's simple for us to push them international, and then re push someone else national, and then that someone after national re push them international, just like that. Before we know it, bona bo makhatsi mfethu ba tsamaya international bo mnada, like se video bo kene le skomota. Imagine like ba khona ho supporta skomota, ba bona re e jwanda ile rona ho jona hlile skomota ba mona tlo hlanyetsa yo ke
le ka ntotsetsa
yo sa
le promoter ma
hlanyetsa batho, but Limpopo they like, oh what, oh ke moment skomota now, oh ke have a shit, up monada up, everyone up, the MTV mona the awards in the MTV or makazi na performer ka stinga pla bibi. Back in the days, na performer ka stinga pla bibi ka sia haya monga ya up ke ntwe go tlolang le Qwaqwa. Ona tsena ha retsa khomo ya mafisa. I'm hoping it won't be the energy, but itabele because ke di squad guys. Khomo ya mafisa etswa ke bomang ke bo Hlox ba hlaya ya ba qadi so isa 200 tsa gora ga Hlox wa tla million, you know. But it's going to happen. It's our generational mission to be economically independent.
And to have schools, it's music,
you understand?
Entertainment schools.
Because the talent this side is crazy. Everywhere we go, we kill. Lenaldi music school, music school. Amazing. Because how na mo retrainela nyona that idea. In everything that we do as Banaba Qwaqwa, as the creatives at Qwaqwa, we excel. So why resayetse to the facilities ho excel and ngono
but lo limit
lo gona re support and ngono. I made an example of happy hore o thola bona la uthengu makarena re ke sa dikipa tsa Qwaqwa. Thola motho a sena skipa sa Qwaqwa wa hana o sreka. mara ke sengwe tseng I love Soweto was by the last thing that aso ka ba le story ngara aso ka ya le Soweto da aso he next mara ta Soweto from here you understand so ke ntonyana tse dingwe ke ntho tse nyana re ka di kopanya da ile
So I've heard to bua ka poetry
yeah
art and creativity so like a performer poetry
Yeah.
so what's your inspiration highland lo bo be poetry firstly
that's where the name Hlox the Rebel came and everything that I do is activism. I don't just write for writing, or write to be dope. It was also activism, challenging the system, challenging the status quo through the words. That's how a lot of government gigs government for a gig because I put a fire as the poems it's what in a decaying society art if it is truthful must reflect the decay. Quote your Ernest Fisher. So I was reflecting the decay through the arts. And then I was called a rebel. And then I was like, okay, I'm Hlox, the rebel poet. And then I was just pushing hard because in everything that I do, I want to inspire someone else. I pushed to be on a couple of international festivals, the Word and Sound Literature Festival, the Freyfest International Festival. And then the biggest stage that I've been on was Poetry Africa, which I have video editing on YouTube. We had a movement, Signature Africa. Yeah,
when I found I've heard
the founder of Signature. It was like literature is very important. Hona tjena ka se ha ona bookstore. Swabisa jwanda ide ha ona le motho a buang ka yona da ide. Library ya bana e kwetswe phutha ditjhaba da. Library ka sting haina di services tsa library. So with Signature na pusha literature, competitive poetry ne santane ke spana Pretoria da ne ke bone Word Sound da ke poets tse 10 dia computer and then I want to make 500 on the day and then the idea in at least the poets to the stage to write better and then but we were young back then the company grew a lot of other poets they were never on some national stages and international stages but as I grew up I love poetry. I think I could have been international, but to be international, is, and also as an activist, there are levels to this activism. We told us it's activism, and all of that. But this year I'm back in poetry fully. More than anything to create the next generation of poets because I started Poetry Africa, Poetry Africa, and then maybe we're going to perform international. Yeah.
Do you think art and culture can benefit the social change and the community development there at Qwaqwa?
Dude, with just arts, culture, and tourism, arts, sports, arts, and culture, and tourism. We can mess things up. We can mess things up. Like I've made an example that I did the theater ya de Putadi Chaba ya a Freedom Square. Like I made example ka Putadi Chaba Stadium as well as Charles Mopeli Stadium. Those things bo Mount Oxos and onabo Tawana Tswana tourism onachi sebetsa mpincheng so yo mpincheng wa ya ka tlalane mofulo. And Lena since that is the international tourists. Money Information Center. That's why Nebitwa Information Center was because Qwaqwa in its very tourism to that level. How fita obatla Qwaqwa Hotel, obatla Mount Oxos, obatla Metsima, so obatla. Where do you wanna go? Ne, how fita there's this place Mokone, Kena Information Center. Information Center ya khetha hore these are the attractions tse rena le tsona ka Qwaqwa batla ya kae these are the guest house tse rena le tsona these are the hotels that we have there was a soccer team Leona economy. There was baseball, there was basketball, I have a friend and a for South Africa nationally because Nagabapala basketball up to Chaba Stadium. So the arts sector, the tourism sector, the sports and culture, the heritage sector, because nobody National Heritage Fund and heritage on the side is strong blind and anybody bushman paintings the tabenze around into the expensive visual renale body statue tsena tsa bo morena Mopeli rena le tsona rena le ntlo ya morena Charles Mopeli ntseng le teng na mahadi pela ha Dr. TK ke tloya gale le yona tlo
yeah
ke di heritage sites tsa mena mo di fundu tse di gona faka za go bele batho ba spanang teng bele batho ba o tourisang ka tsena re le banyane ba go tourisa ka se ka bese na le leeto la pota Qwaqwa. So ke dintho tse ding tse tangible tse ka kgonang ho etsa economy e rise so ka hara Qwaqwa if we were to focus on them, because these things in the budget that's all. I'm always saying like if boma community mona ba ka spanisa zagaina towards what it's supposed to do, akona tabala ka change, but don't chow what's supposed to develop. And then uthola di artists dihlanya mona nakasi mo di artists tsuba di tracks artists di dula di tawe. Those are the people ba re carrying throughout the COVID season. Those are the people ba neng ba tswere country so ba kengwe ele di front line workers, but they dealt with the mental issues the country throughout that time. So if other countries they're successful, how sheba already se jwang ka art ya teng. That's how khona go thola bo artists ya teng painting ya hae ke bo millions and whatever, because country e buildile that worth for their arts. Yeah.
So in collaboration and influence, I've seen you have worked with Lebohang Tan.
Lebohang.
How was it?
Which Lebohang is this one?
Yeah, what a kingdom, the Forgotten Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So that there's another thing is Chelete Paya that hence I'm saying as the young people were supposed to be leading the country because we know these things. So there's a friend of mine, in Bloemfontein, they called, they're like, yo, we want to come shoot a movie. And Qwaqwa has the perfect locations for this movie. And then they're like, would you like to be production assistant, help us with the locations and other things? I'm like, okay, cool. And then that's when I started learning about this film business thing. There's so much money in locations, especially with locations like ours. There are a lot of people who feature Qwaqwa because we do not have a film commission. Next. So how not that the movie was called Molamu. Location shopping complex here na lento re Spanisang kada le mautia shayang kada nyanya zane go hirile lona da. So that film khona with a Spanish buyer blind. The guy Lebohang he was a friend of the main character in the movie. So Nato Ektakahi on the movie, and then I was assisting them with everything that they needed. And he happened to be here, and that's when we saw their fees for location, because for the appearance, for being extras, for that project brought a lot of work. The side, catering, babang populated into the transportation because it was a proper production. He was a cool guy. He's not a superstar. He was just here to work, and then we got to learn a lot. But now, because within our midst now, there's a film company that's growing, Sugar Eve Media, which I think is going to open up this film commission thing that we want to start, because it's very important for us to have a film commission. Nelson Mandela Bridge, maybe K. Oli, aka Bashuta music
They
video.
pay.
Yeah, they have to go pay. because there is a commission in KZN, the KZN Film Commission, a funded the movie the pipeline. That's how honang bona the actor the KZN the pipeline, the hotel production thing via the film commission. So Free State doesn't have a film commission because everything a Free State in a politics so it have a meeting thing comrade mamang with the comrade mamang every year would love to a film commission. Hence we focused on the Qwaqwa Film Commission and working in partnership with places like your Golden Gate and all these other places that are in dope locations, and then finding ways in which these locations can bring in money into Qwaqwa. Yeah.
So you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I think you face challenges. What are those challenges that you face being an entrepreneur and an artist, I think? Yes. And you would overcome and run those challenges.
I think the most difficult thing, there's an entrepreneur, the prophet one, in the traditional way of entrepreneurship, which is someone who sees a risk and identifies a need, and then a 7 deal, and then in 10 or 12 it. And then there's now this thing called social entrepreneurship, which is what I'm called. So social entrepreneurship has been one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, because with social entrepreneurship, my profit is impact. How many people have I assisted? You got 500,000 from this company. How many people, how many households have you assisted? How many jobs have you created? So it's satisfying, but also not satisfying, because I'm a father, I'm a family man. You have to bring in dough in the house. But with social entrepreneurship, it's just about helping people, and then help to the project something. So now this year I'm focusing on the profit making side of things, because I'm also an arts entrepreneur. How do we make money from the arts? In fact, right now there's a dialogue in the Zara Hasta Bomba Hamakriza in Putadichaba.
I've seen it.
Yeah, on Wednesday. Yes,
we're
talking about ways of making money, through the arts. As a poet, you find out, like back in the days, we just wanted to make money with poetry. But now there are things like being a voice-over artist. You are a poet, Kucho, obviously. You use your words. You can get the money. And then you are a creative writer as a poet. You can write billboards. You can write for other people. I was commissioned, or they hired me as a freelancer to write these books. So as a poet, you just have to tone it down and then make money out of that. But we are, as everything is collaborative effort, but what the government, if we structure ourselves as the artists in rural areas, in townships, and then the government, we are dealing with these structures. When we are in Qwaqwa, we are dealing with the structures, and then when we fund the structure, we are sure that we have funded the artists at Qwaqwa. Or when there are funds in other departments, this structure can help individual artists and companies. But we are coming up with ways of the artists, but they own a restaurant, so that you don't just rely on your art, but you can build a restaurant, and then your restaurant becomes a platform for other artists to showcase their work.
So what advice will you give to the young creatives and entrepreneurs who find themselves, or pursue this journey?
Finding yourself, just to start. A lot of ideas die while they are stillborn. Motonahana idea for the longest time. There was this young man, he wants to start as a waste management company, and ntse kopanya dipampiri, and I qeta ho ba le dipampiri that I'm like, just start. You just have to start. You wanna have a fruit and vegetable market, start with 1 pack of tomatoes and 5 apples, but just start. A lot of people, we know how many amazing ideas, $1 million ideas, but they couldn't see them through because they didn't start. And then after you start, it's very important to trust the process and exercise patience, because at the end of the day, the results are always worth it. There are people who call me when you're only in Joburg, or you're only in Cape Town, or you're only in Durban. You would have been so far. But that's not where my vision is. I know with my capabilities and everything that I can do and all the gifts that God has blessed me with, alone I could be so far. But I want to roll as a collective, so that the artists, you know, it's collective. And then you helped build that, you know. You get to Kasia, get a little bit of this podcast, because how na motla get Qwaqwa's finest, because even the millions and the billions that you guys see, they're going to come from here. The businesses and the partnerships and the investments that you're going to get because you started a podcast while in Qwaqwa. You didn't want to go to Joburg and go start a podcast there. So it's just about starting. Yeah.
So what's the next move from Mr. Hlox?
The next move.
Let Qwakanda, you can share the next move at Qwakanda, just a little bit.
That's the next move. The next move is economic emancipation of our people, economic freedom, being economically independent as the community of Qwaqwa. This is one of the biggest challenges that we have ever given ourselves, saying we are going to go into the community and then we want 100 people to commit into Honsadi Turant, and then we want to transform Qwaqwa Inaya Bohon. And then for me personally, I don't know, maybe next year I might just run for elections as an independent, because it's very important to be within that municipality and to sit in the decision-making tables. I always tell other young people in the council, people like Mopeli in the EFF, there are other guys from the ACM. I talk to a lot of young people in the council, and what they always say is that, guys, we need more of you in here so that we can implement the things. But you tell them to us, there are about 6-7 of us young people in that table. And then you want us, because every time at the election we step back, and I would encourage other young people, you know, just to how can I go to the election, just raise up your hand and be like, you know what, I want to stand up for my community. I want to stand up for the rights of our community. Qwakanda right now, we are a civic movement. With civic movement, we are just about the community and ensuring that the livelihoods of our community is sharp. Otherwise, I'm going to release Dibuka, because there's Qwakanda, the dream to a greater Qwaqwa. Yeah, that's the dream. Yeah, it's where we will be after doing what we are going to do with the Turants. It's the journey of the Turant that's enough, so people can see the vision. And then there's Akimbo. It's a poetry collection. It's like Detox, Dr. Dre. It's taken forever, but yeah, that's me. We are pushing Qwakanda, we're pushing signature, pushing poetry, and everything that has to do with the community.
Hayi ntate. Hayi. Ke a tla dula ka kitchen ngoko. Ke bona nka bona le bona.
We
Ke
good.
recorder. Any questions Bafethu?
Good. I think you want 3 hours, ne?
It's 2 hours and something.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize ka taba ya camera from the past 2 or 3 episodes. Our camera broke down, so we are using one camera. But however, we bought another one. So I think by the end of this month, more than 3 or 4 cameras. And again, we are thinking of opening something Johannesburg, and it will hala very, very soon. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. One more time for the Hlox.
Salute.
Sure.
One time. Kopana ke mati.
Lemnat. Thank you. Give thanks. On behalf of the team, I would like to give maximum respect for you to show up here and share the information that you share with us and to the viewers of the Qwaqwa's Finest.
Yes,
Afrikaans.
Basics.
Afrikaans.
Wat is jouw naam daar?
Ke mantsa ka tsastavola bua mafosi ha ke le teng na o duma kotsi tshwara mosadi a tlwele mokosi re tla di bona sane tseo tsa bagotsi basadi ba tletse ba tswa joshi ska ba tshwana na tshwere dikgosi le mino boyetsa ngokwa ditsotsi ba menuka ya tlisetse tosi ke tshese sigara ngotsweng khotli. Nowadays I'm kind of feeling godly ke tabula seta ke tshese soli ntsandi mali phela ngintete costi him tshwere ntwana I'm feeling godly utshwere boza mabebeza come duze le fantola lam rapper don't lose it take all over take two the I choose it no rush when I sweetie hata boot fully vodka ntwana gazi vela sip shot uzokhokha if you acting kinda good guy started water we just wanna have some good times harero bale na magenga ntwana all night I'm everywhere you go yellow born MTN I know they feeling cold but to heal it battle head I'm not short when I sweetie music is dance if you wanna party with me gotta understand I chop money with the blender like a shredder eat you like a cheddar this is so creamy I take you on the repertoire I'm taller than the Eiffel Towers running faster than Kirsten njenge kholizo kuminya katalente ka kusinya Besa tabalana petit boss izinje sane over there pussy vodka why you dancing like you wanna do come over sahla sala marabela uzokhokha emabebeza tabalana petit boss izinje sane over there pussy vodka why you dancing like you wanna do come over sahla sala marabela uzokhokha petit boss sweetie petit boss petit boss sweetie petit boss